go. We're just getting things ready. Hang in there, guys. Good news. As you can see, we have a new setup coming in. We're slowly setting it up. I'm waiting for our cool new clock to come in and our nice tour so that you can actually see it up there. Trying to get the other television hooked up. Excuse me. Sorry, I got some under my eye here. Just getting ready for episode 4. There were some tech issues last week. It was supposed to be episode 3, and somehow it got posted as episode 2. I actually have to edit the episode. I think I actually said episode 2 by accident. So, our mistake. We will rectify that as best as we can down the road. And let's begin. We're still waiting for all the video software to come in so that we can integrate that opening that we want for this week in TWIR episode 4. Hi everybody, glad to have you guys along. Jenna Fox here. We're looking forward to all kinds of great top stories we're going to be looking at today. SNL mocks Google Glass. Oh yes, yes they did. And you know it's going to happen. The Nokia Lumia 920 Windows phone has a new commercial. We'll take a look at that and talk about that in a little bit. Lost in Space reruns continue on MeTV. And looking at robots and speaking of robots and media, we're also going to look at Teen Titans Go over on Cartoon Network. They're continuing. We get a glimpse of Cyborg over there. And the gentleman easy-robot.com. We're going to talk a little bit about his hobby kits over there. I'm very excited about that part of the show. So hang in there. Episode 4, Robots Media Google Glass Mocks, right here on TWIR, up next. Well, hey, welcome to episode 4. We are so excited. Jenna Fox here along with you once again this week in robotics. TWIR, you can catch us over at TWIRtv, that's TWIRtv at gmail.com. So glad that you guys are coming along. Bear with us. As you can kind of see, the studio is looking a bit different. It's still building, so you can see some blank spaces that will be filled shortly. We have been revamping the studio a bit. We've been trying to work on this for some time. We've been waiting for certain pieces to come in, and they'll slowly be dragging in over the next year or so. So you'll see these. This is probably the biggest drastic change, at least for right now, until we can again twir it or twerk it, as we like to call it over here at TWIR. I'm also very excited to announce that I have been asked by one of my fellow actresses to come and do a role for a character named Betty in one of her sequel films coming up that she's working on. So I'm very excited about that. We'll be actually shooting part of that this afternoon. So I'm very excited about that. So glad to have you guys along today. So much is happening this week. Well, might as well start off with the top story. SNL, Saturday Night Live, mocked last Saturday night Google Glass. And we were trying to have the video. We're trying to integrate that right now. So bear with us. We're still working, and we're hoping over the next year or so that we'll get that software where we can hit a button. And if not, then we're going to have to do it in post so that when I announce it, it will go right into the video. And we can discuss that and talk about that as we go along. But I was very entertained by this because when they showed this, there was a lot of discussion about this, especially over on one of our other friendly folks that we know on another fun-filled network that I very much enjoy, and they were discussing this as well, and I felt it was an important thing to discuss. For looking at a lot of different aspects of what we have happening, and it was very interesting. Of course, that's what we see happen a lot in comedy. It tends to mock it and take it like 10 times further than it normally is. But there is some aspects that make me chuckle because of sort of the things that you're going to have to do with glass. It wasn't as impressive as a lot of people had thought. We're starting to see those pop up now as Google continues to push out the invitations. Obviously, a lot of the folks who got their little glass squares last year and I know a couple of other individuals who they still have their glass and they haven't been contacted yet. So they'll be slowly rolling that out over this next year. This is for a lot of the developers this year before it actually even hits the retail over the next year or so. And I know we're on that explorers list, but that will also be some time. I still haven't received an email or any kind of. So we'll keep you guys posted on Google Glass. Definitely, if you have a chance to check it out, we're going to put that link in. Again, like as many of us, our regular viewers have come to know, we're putting our links in at the end of the episodes. We apologize if they're not all getting up there right now. We've been having some tech issues with our internet. We're trying to work those out. Bear with us as we continue to try to grow and hopefully become better so that you guys can enjoy us. Don't forget, we're over on the MIRC chat. That's hashtag TWIRtv. Log into that one, say hi, ask Q&A. We're trying to integrate that, so hopefully I can get another screen up that will be able to sort of read the chat and see kind of what's going on and interact with you guys as we go about our episode. Now, of course, doing that, we still don't have enough sponsors yet. We're still at about a half hour. So hang in there, bear with us. If I don't get to them, I'll try to do my best to maybe leave some notes and some responses to the comments. Stop by, say hi, send some love. Please keep the hate and attitude and issues away. That's not what we're here about. We're trying to be here and keep the folks that enjoy this enthusiasm and not to take away. Look, we know that a lot of the world it's got attitude and issue about a lot of stuff, but can we put that aside? And I try to still do it. Hopefully, that I can integrate and network with the good individuals who enjoy this kind of stuff, not be out there to mock it in 1,000 different ways. And I'm getting, absolutely tired of. So I hope that we can continue on a good direction. Speaking of that, to help cheer things up, if you guys get a chance, I extremely started to chuckle with the new Nokia Lumia 920 commercial that they had about sort of the hinting at the sort of Apple or the iPhones and the Android phone sort of war going on there between those is sort of like a family feud. Of course, they sort of integrate those by bringing a marriage together. And it was just very interesting how at the end that they discussed and talked about the new Windows type phone. And I think, without giving anything away, I think you guys will definitely get a chuckle on that. The link will be at the end of the program as well. And while we're on that subject, I think that would be a good place to integrate into our sponsors again today. Don't forget, we want to thank Cat and Fox Studios for letting us use this wonderful fun studio and this nice little setup as we go along. Go over and check those guys out. Cat and Fox Studios, all one word, .com. And it's great. You can go over there and you can get your own public service announcement done. You can get a commercial done, 15, 30, 45, 1 minute commercial. It's great. Very reasonable rates. Give those guys a call. They're willing to work with just about any budget. And it's true, any budget. And there's a lot of people out there that say that, and then you go and then they're like $200 or $300 freaking dollars. It's ridiculous, and then even into the thousands. It's insane. So I think they're very reasonable. We always try to be helpful to the best of our ability of what we can work with, and I really think they're great. And also one of our other ones, stamps.com. Go on over. I'm going to put the link. We're trying to get the / affiliate link to make it nice and simple, but it's somehow become a bit complex, so we have to plug in this like reference number. So please, I encourage you guys, plug in that, because you'll actually get $30 extra in savings, and you get the scale that we have. Actually, it's right here. We have the scale right here, so we use that when we need our stamps, which is really nice. We ended up paying $11.99 for it. I think they said $9.99, but I'm not sure. It might have been something during when I tried to order it the first time, and somehow a couple dollars got added on or something. So I'm not sure. And I was trying to find out through customer service, but they were really good. I actually had to shut them off after 30 days, and they actually charged me, but I was impressed. They gave them a phone call and had a discussion for a little while, and they definitely were really good about it. They refunded me the money. So, those guys are really great over there. So we got to give them a kudos for that as well. And Squarespace, going over to squarespace.com, very inexpensive e-commerce. I've looked at a lot of e-commerce sites. A lot of them still haven't integrated the HTML5 that allows you to pretty much run off of smartphones, tablets, uh, laptops, Windows, Macs, all the different formats that we're seeing. Becoming quite a commonality to be using either Linux, the operating system like Leopard, an OS X system, OSI. We have the also integrated into that is the ISO for the smartphones, the Android format as well, and then of course the Windows format. So they're trying to integrate all those and move away from the Flash and the Dolby. I know with the Wii U, we're hoping that there'll be an update on their browser allowing you to actually watch some live streaming, because there's some live streaming websites that we like, and hopefully it'll allow us to integrate that eventually. Right now you can't. You can use it through like the TVI, just it pulls. That's a whole nother discussion. But anyway, I found that definitely Squarespace is a great deal. We're trying to get that up there so that we can start to sell some of our T-shirts that we've ordered. I can't wait till they come in so you guys can see them. I'm excited for when the day that I can kind of be like, hey, look what we got. And actually, speaking of that, also Custom Ink, CustomInk.com as well has just joined us. So thank you guys. Custom Ink, they got some great. You can go on over there. You can upload your own image, and it's very reasonable. I think so, because I've looked at a lot of locals, and they actually charge a bit higher because, of course, it's their frame printing is done locally, which I want to encourage local. It costs a little bit more, but I want to encourage local. But I found it because I can't do a lot of traveling, and it works well for me. So I think that's a really good integration to do that. Now, this is probably a good segue so that we can head on into robots in media. This week in robots in media, we're looking at Lost in Space once again. They are rotating their reruns once again. I know that they just had the black and white episode that was their pilot last weekend, and that's continuing. So if you guys want to get your robot fix again, and if you have MeTV, check with your cable provider or your satellite provider, or maybe you can find them online. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge for those of the cable cutters. We're part of that group too. We're part of cable cutters, and we pretty much watch. There's only a few networks I watch, including ours. As we build our content, we actually find ourselves going back to get a lot of great information out of it, and it's great. And I think you guys will enjoy it too. Go on over to TWIRtv at gmail.com. That's our email. Drop us a line and say hi. You can catch us over right now. We're actually streaming live. USTREAM.com/TWIRtv. We've been trying to set up our other provider with Justin.tv as well. We've been trying to, for some reason, it's been giving me login issues with my phone. So we're trying to work with that because we're trying to get another phone set up to broadcast simulcasting. But we haven't been able to get that other phone yet as well. I actually just integrated and used part of our other providers that are on USEL. That's USEL.com. Check those guys out too. There's some pretty decent ones there, as well as Gazelle.com as well. We're trying to get on board for being advertisers with them. I found with a little bit newer phones, you actually get a much better deal there. The USEL I went to only because some of the phones I had were a bit older, and they weren't on Gazelle, so that was kind of a nice alternative for you that I was able to fall back on. So those are just a list of some of those guys as well. And don't forget, if you're watching us live right now, tonight on Cartoon Network, Teen Titans Go! Exactly, Teen Titans Go will continue. You can get your cyborg fix tonight, or at least hopefully a few cameo scenes with him in there tonight if you want to get that. Don't forget to join in tonight on Cartoon Network. We love it over here. That's one of our favorite channels, and we actually stream it right online. So we tend to watch that right online. That's one of our cable cutter options that we do. And I've got to send a shout out to one of my friends that wants to stay anonymous for thanking us to let them and help us to that resource, which was really nice. So that's a really nice option that we use for that as well. So now we're very excited that we're going to be integrating. I was actually trying to contact them and be able to get an interview with these folks, but we're very excited. I've been talking about on and off through our beta episodes and our last 3 episodes prior to this one about how we've wanted to integrate some kind of hobby show, and that may hopefully have a green light soon. I can't put an exact date on it because again everything has to do with money, of course, right? Once again, so we're hoping that there's a couple kits I'm looking at over there on these guys. These guys are great. I'm going to pull that up right here. EZ, that's EZ dash, not the underscore. It's the dash that you find between the 0 and the plus and equal sign on your keyboard. Uh, it might be slightly set up different on the Android keyboard. If I remember, the keys are moved a little differently. You got to move one of the icons to get to the symbols. But otherwise, it's EZ dash robot, ROBOT.com. They got some great fun kits over there. Actually, he's featuring right on his website one of the kits that we're going to be working on. So I'm so excited. We found a used one of the little Wally toys. Wally. And I'm very excited. That is going to be one of our first kits. He hasn't talked about it on here, but we're also trying to find one of those. Normally they're $200 right now, but they're like a 15-inch R2D2 unit that responds. It's got voice commands. It's a very basic voice command setup. And some of the ones we're looking at are missing its antenna, but they're a lot cheaper. But at least we can get one in here that maybe will move around. And I'm curious to see it interacting with Mora and how she's going to react to them. So we're very excited about that, and I can't wait to integrate and work on that. I guess it's about a couple hour project, so we may be breaking this up into a few different hours. I don't know whether we're going to try to break this up and do like 4 half-hour live events, or whether we're going to try to do a full scale out live event for it, or whether we may end up just trying to record what we can. What we may end up doing is we might end up going over to YouTube, because after we reach our on the free account, we're going to fill up our video, and we're going to have to go to someplace that's free streaming. And we've been wanting to integrate live YouTube, and we've just been wanting to go there directly since. And I'm trying to set that and integrate that into our phone. We actually wanted to try to get a live feed for that right now, trying to keep our expenses down, but we also pay our licensing fees so that it'll allow us to show these. And I don't want to also forget, I want to throw in another quick advertiser as well. Pond 5. Pond5.com. That's where actually you're going to start to see. We've purchased some of our graphics that you'll see for our show, and we can't forget about integrating what makes a great show. Not only graphics, but music. We have to give a shout out to Air Lumron. That's AERLUMRON, Air Lumron Productions. Those guys are amazing over there. They have over tons of music options available, and they have been so gracious to give us the integration. So shout out to you guys over there. They We are going to be using some of their gorgeous music. um, I was talking with one of the individuals on part of that setup, and we're there's actually one that we want to now use for the new theme song, because if any of you have been enjoying and watching our podcast, you'll know that we have sort of a very familiar theme song that we were using, and we've been wanting to integrate this new theme song into our new episode. So a huge shout out to Air Lumron Productions for their tons of work over there. They've made some great stuff, and they've integrated their own sort of like role-playing RPG style game that looks a lot like a 16-bit Final Fantasy classic type style of those earlier RPGs. I think it's great, and they made tons of music for it, and they sent us a few pieces, and I hope it's okay to talk about that a little bit about them, because we can't thank them enough. They've been phenomenal with that, and you know, uh, pretty supportive about that. So we want to make sure that um, word is get out there, because there's a lot of people, there's so much talent out there that's not seen by anyone. And it's tough because there is so much. It's hard to see it all, and we encourage that. Again, remember, go on over to TWIRtv, that's TWIRtv at gmail.com, and put in the heading, um, if maybe you'd like to be an artist that you want to feature, or put in the subject interview, and then describe a little bit about yourself, and tell me about what you like to do and what you'd really like to accomplish with it, and just briefly kind of about that, and your contact information and whatnot. I want to do our best to be able to allow that. We're trying to integrate a Skype so that you guys can see us, and I want to try to get another. We're trying to set up another camera right now, that as well. So I mean, there's a lot of pieces that we're trying to add to this, but again, every month we can only add one piece. And they're like, why don't you just wait? But we've already waited so long already. We've waited a year longer than we wanted to, and we just haven't had the money to put this together until recently. And we're just going to have to grow with what we have, piece by piece. And I hope you guys grow along with us. And look, I'm learning every single day too. I'm very excited. I've learned a lot, but I'm also very excited to always learn new stuff. And I'm very excited to be working with these guys. I hope we've been trying to actually contact them to, I hope, get an interview, but no promises, no promises. So I'm excited. We're excited to try the new Wally setup. There's a new camera integration. It's about $100 and something for the basic robot kit, and I found one of the Wallies online for about 50. So you can do it for a couple hundred, and I think that's a lot cheaper than some of the Robo Sapiens and some of the other ones that are out there for tens of thousands of dollars. As well as I've seen many between the $5,000 and $1,000 range, even some of those basics that were out just a few years ago, and they've just gotten so pricey, and it's difficult. Now there's also Lego Mindstorms. I was also looking at some of those this past week when we were talking about the competition. I know that they were actually integrating some of that. Some of the individuals have learned some of that stuff through the high school and grade school settings. I think those have had a real passion for it. But again, those some of the prices I've looked. Now, good news I got to throw out about that as well is Lego Mindstorms has a new version 3 coming out this fall. I was reading about. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested in the Lego Mindstorms. So we'll continue to keep you guys posted. I hope that you're having a great time. Before we start to kind of wrap up this show for today, I just want to remember that, don't forget as well, if you want to be part of our studio audience, TWIRtv, TWIRtv at gmail.com, and put in the heading studio audience. That way we'll know if you want to be part of it. We usually try to do our live broadcasts on Tuesday, so try to work out the details with us before we get to a Monday so that by the time you show up, and we would encourage you to show up like a half hour or so prior to the broadcast, just to allow you to kind of get settled in while we're setting stuff up, and just please have a seat, and we want to have time to talk with you, but we'll need that little bit of time as we're sort of setting up the equipment and whatnot. We're trying to get it into a place where we don't have a lot we have to do with the equipment to set it up. So we encourage you guys to come on over to the studio. We don't have a lot of room right now. We're also trying to get chairs. So again, there's a lot of little pieces that we try to add every week, and we hope that we can at least accommodate to the best of our ability until then. And because right now it's difficult. Right now we're actually trying to save up for a vehicle. And we're not talking about much of a personal vehicle. Yes, it's personal, but at the same time a vehicle that we need, a business vehicle that we need for this, so that I can actually get around and be able to network and get some of this work done, and actually just be able to get groceries. Yes, I know we can have some delivered, but up here it's difficult because, oh, that's a whole nother discussion in itself I won't get into. It's a personal thing that I don't want to burden you guys with or bother you with. And some might say, oh, it's not a burden, but I just prefer right now to leave it at that. And lastly, we're very, very excited that I'm going to be a character named Betty in this new sequel coming up. I have a wonderful friend of mine who's an actress, author, director, producer of a sequel that everybody has come to sort of look at as this sort of, the way I remember this, there was a director similar to her about a decade ago, back in the mid to late 90s. And he made a lot of independent films, but they quickly became these sort of underground, sort of cult classics, if you will. and hers is already becoming that. And I definitely saw it when I saw it. You know, it. Some people might say, "Oh, it's low production," but trust me, it makes me smile. I thought, I'm not sitting here, putting her up, but I felt she was brilliant. I was very excited about what she did with it and what she could do with it. I mean, with her resources that she had, she still made it look. It reminded me of that type of director, and those were such integrating stories. And I think this one's going to be interesting because it should hopefully help explain a little bit more about what happened in the first one. And I kind of like that because you see one, or maybe you read a book, and like, I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but you kind of get an idea, or it gives sort of an interpretation of what the reader or the artist meant, and you don't have to really know, which is so cool about that concept, which I really really like. And I'm excited. I'm going to be playing this woman named Betty, and she will come to the main character in a dream. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil anything further, but we're very excited. So a shout out to Kelly Helen Thompson. Love you, girl. Good stuff. Say holla. Very excited to be part of that. And we'll be filming that later this afternoon. So I hope you guys had a good time. I always miss you guys. I'm so happy to kind of be along and be able to do this because, as you can see, I smile. I get all excited about tech and robots and just this kind of stuff. And oh, by the way, I wanted to leave one last thing. I almost forgot that if you guys keep an eye and go on over to my channel, and they haven't got posted yet, but keep an eye out, and you'll see over at the YouTube / the Jenna Fox. I'm very excited. Or I think it's youtube.com/user/ the Jenna Fox. And I'm gonna start following now. I don't look so good because I'm not usually made up. I have a little less makeup on the chin area, cough cough. So please don't look at that and insult me for that. All I want you to try to look at is how brave I'm trying to be. So hopefully I'll see. But anyway, I wanted to share with you guys that I'm being open to allow it to share part of my personal life, that I have begun to work on a new. I've been integrating different types of workouts over the last couple of years, and I've been wanting to try this one. I haven't had the money until now to finally try. Excuse me, finally try it, and I decided to finally take that step this month when I finally had a little bit to work with. And I said, all right. And sure enough, I am definitely feeling it here and here on the sides already, because I haven't got the program yet, but I've been going online, and you'll see that I've actually been working on these video blogs. Those are going to be put up pretty soon, and we're actually going to have a channel for it so that people can sort of follow my progress. And yes, we took the quintessential 12 photographs of the before, and I look atrociously awful. I mean, it's a side of me that I don't like to share as much in public, but I wanted to really show the rawness of. Even though I've been working really really hard at it, it's been a struggle, and you do have a struggle with disability, but I'm trying not to let that get in my way, and I'm trying to empower past that and work with what I do have. I've had to do some of the modifications for some of the workouts already, but I'm very excited about those. And I'll talk about more of that if you guys want to follow us. But anyway, I just wanted to touch on that as well, that I've been starting this new one, and I've been working with it. I was working with a nutritionist for the last year. I haven't had the money to continue with her, and she was great. And now I have a new coach that she's reached out to say hello. I'll send a shout out. Hi, Amber. And whether she sees this show or not. But we're very excited about that, and I hope you guys will sort of follow that along. And I've been putting some of those short updates. They're going to be going up soon on how I've been feeling through this last week, because we just ordered it Friday and we actually haven't got the package yet. But they have sent me a couple of free 10-minute videos to start doing, and boy, they are intense. And I sure felt it today. Today was the first day where I knew that the second day I would start to feel sore, and by the end of the first day, when I woke up the next day, I definitely started to feel a bit sore. But boy, I felt it even more today, that it was so hard that when it was already sore, you're trying to still work those muscles that are already sore again, and it's a challenge. And I know this isn't anything new to some other folks, and I'm sharing that experience, and I know what that's like because I've worked out before and I've been in other sports and things like that and these type of integrations. But boy, it's definitely much more intense, and it was sort of what I'm looking for. But it's something that I hope that I can sort of keep up. And so far, it's finding to be something that's definitely for me, that it's not something that hopefully it's just going to be another fad that's going to come and go, and then I'll put my weight back on in any way. I mean, I've been doing very, very good about doing that, and I go out on a regular week basis. But I'll talk about that more. Anyway, so I wanted to thank you guys so much again for enjoying coming along. I've already talked too much about it. Thank you guys again. Have a great week. Once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this right here on May. Gosh, look at that. See, I'm jumping ahead. Over on May, and I just had it. Where did it go? Here we go. May, there we go. All right. Thank you. I'm going to have to slice and cut that. May 7th, 2013, episode 4. Thank you guys again for joining us. Have a great week. I'll see you again next week. Ciao.